Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate. It's Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. This is an update for the All Hazards Consortium, the sensitive information sharing environment where we share information across platforms so we can keep everybody on the same page at the same time, looking at any kind of environmental threats that may be impacting the United States or any of our friends to the north or to the south as well. We are watching a number of tropical systems, or at least potential tropical systems. The first one in the Atlantic, I'm going to talk about that one. You can see that with the red X. A wave came off, a tropical wave came off the west coast of Africa, and it's in some favorable conditions for developing over the next several days. We're going to dive into that. And we also have two systems in the Pacific Ocean, one that is threatening Baja California and western Mexico there, and another one that is moving in the Central Pacific or towards the Central Pacific that may be impacting in one way or another the beautiful state of Hawaii. So we're going to dive into all three of these systems and just focus on that, even though it has been very cool and fall-like throughout the eastern United States, at least the mid-Atlantic and northeast and upper Midwest. We keep getting shots of cool air, all because Hurricane Erin really deepened and moved out, allowed a trough of low pressure to come in from the northwest, and it's kind of opened the doors to that trough sticking around in the east. Meanwhile, the west continues to bake. Oh, those of you in California really getting through some of the hottest weather of the summer so far, and summer really isn't over yet, but it sure does feel like it in the east. Well, here's what's going on from the standpoint of the outlooks, and I'm going to show you this from GeoCollaborate. The standpoint, first of all, of GeoCollaborate full screen, since I had it up here in the beginning, and I'll move this up just a little bit. Here's the coast of Africa, the west coast of Africa, right here, and you can see this red X. This is where there's a suspicious area of tropical wave activity. These come off of Africa this time of year. And these low pressure areas, sometimes they do develop into what we call Cape Verde storms. Those Cape Verde hurricanes, they come across the ocean. They can go straight into the Caribbean and then into the Gulf, or they can go across the northern part of Cuba and into the Gulf, or they can curve up the East Coast, or they can just recurve. And there's all sorts of possibilities that happen with these systems. I'm going to show you the satellite picture and what that looks like from the broad perspective first from the GOES satellite. Let's take it full screen. And I have turned on the sea surface temperature data. You know, I like looking at that sea surface temperature data. And it's very important as well because we can see the ocean heat up, cool down. As a matter of fact, this area of the Atlantic did cool down because of the influence of Hurricane Erin churning up all that Atlantic Ocean water, and indeed it did leave cooler temperatures behind it. But that is starting to recover now. It's somewhat a little bit cooler in some areas here, but the ocean mixes very well, and the temperatures are getting back to being quite warm. Let's look over to the east. All the way over here. Here's the terminator line. This is the sunset line coming, where it's nighttime over here, daytime over here. It's making its way towards the East Coast and the central U.S. and the West Coast as well. But if we look all the way over here to these clouds, doesn't look like much right now, particularly in the infrared. But I'm going to switch over. Remember, we can do that. We can switch over to our friends at EUMETSAT, because we're going to take a look at the Meteosat 10 satellite. This is very helpful. This is the west coast of Africa right here. You can see that. But look at this. In the visible part, you can see sort of a swirling, and then nighttime comes. Let me reload this. Well, no, I'm not going to reload it because I want you to see some of the visible imagery. This is just a broad tropical wave, but you can see maybe some circulation trying to form. It's not closed, not a closed low pressure system, but it is something that is motivating the National Hurricane Center to say, you know what, we're putting an X where that circulation is, and we believe that a tropical system could form in this area over the next several days. How many days? Well, this product here says over the next 2 days, we have a 30% chance of a tropical cyclone developing in this area. Over the next 7 days, it's quite high, 70%. So I would be very confident that there is going to be a tropical cyclone forming in this area, likely a tropical depression, then a tropical storm, and the models are picking up on it and making it a hurricane, but they're the models. We like to focus on what the experienced Hurricane Center forecasters are talking about with their analysis. You know, they have 11 hurricane forecasters and specialists, and they're the ones that consume all the hurricane models and come out with the best forecast. And you know what? The National Hurricane Center hurricane forecasters are more accurate than the models. So while you might see throughout YouTube and the internet people talking about models and what it's going to do here, they think it's going to do here, and put on long-range forecasts from the models out beyond 200 hours and say, oh my gosh, this system is going to hit the United States, that's baloney. And I've always talked about long-range forecasts and the models being fantasy land. Well, we go with the National Hurricane Center forecasters. I know some of them. I've been to a lot of meetings with some of them. I've presented in front of them, and they are the best in the world. So this is what we're going to go with so far, a potential for a tropical storm to develop in this area over the next 2 to 7 days. And look at the trajectory. So it could move anywhere here towards the northern Leeward Islands, or it could move out here, well out to sea. This is the area of anticipated development. So we'll be watching this every day and seeing what's happening with its progression. And I'll go back to the satellite picture and show you the circulation here from the full disk perspective, because I did want to point out that while the system is out here, it is warm enough. Temperatures are warm enough for it to form. But as it moves towards the west and the northwest, it's going to enter this area. You see this? This is warmer sea surface temperatures here. So that is going to be another ingredient that's going to help it develop. And indeed, it could provide much more potential, let's say, for this storm to develop into a hurricane. It's nothing right now, so we don't have to worry about it. In the Leeward Islands, Barbados, you don't have to worry about it at all. Just keep tabs on it like you do during hurricane season. Okay, if we move across the Caribbean here, we see showers and thunderstorms developing over Cuba, over the Dominican Republic and Haiti, and even over Puerto Rico here. Beautiful Puerto Rico. Out over the Bahamas, not many storms, just some high clouds. And we can see a low pressure system wrapping up here well off the coast that's going to be moving off to the northeast. Sea surface temperatures, they've cooled down quite a bit down towards the mid-Atlantic coastline, but it has been very fall-like in the northeast and mid-Atlantic, with temperatures below average, high temperatures only getting up in the 70s, low temperatures in the 50s, some areas in the 40s in the northeast. So it's definitely giving everybody a taste of fall. Going down towards the Gulf, look at this. It's very warm. It is a hot tub, basically, in the Gulf here. So anything that forms here will not find any resistance from the sea surface temperatures that exist there. We head further to the west. We get into our first tropical system here in the Pacific. This is Tropical Storm Lorena, and it is strengthening. Winds now of 50 miles per hour. Let's get in a little bit closer, and I'll zoom in here so we can look at Lorena, and I'll show you what it's doing and what the statistics are. So let's take a look at the first piece of information for Lorena. Here it is. It's rotating a tropical storm off the west coast of Mexico. There's Baja California just up here, Cabo San Lucas right down here. So Tropical Storm Lorena, this is from the National Hurricane Center, as of 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Lorena is strengthening and forecast to become a hurricane during the day tomorrow. Tropical storm watches have now been posted for western portion of Baja California Sur. So that is an area right up in here where tropical storm watches have been issued. I'll get a little bit detailed there when I dive into it in GeoCollaborate. Where's the location? 19.4 north, 109.0 west, about 310 miles west of Manzanillo, Mexico. So it's west of Manzanillo. You can see the clouds there along the coastline there, maybe some showers kicking up along the immediate coastline. But this storm is getting its act together. It still has warm water to move through. And Lorena is expected to remain a fairly small storm through which plenty of moisture and warm sea surface temperatures for the next 24 to 36 hours exist. And forecasts are for Lorena to steadily intensify toward hurricane status by tomorrow. So right now, Lorena is a tropical storm. See that 50-mile-per-hour winds, central pressure 1,002 millibars, and the movement to the northwest at 15 miles per hour. But there is a turn forecast for Lorena in the future, and I will show you. There is some potential. You see the sea surface temperatures, they're still very warm up here. They're very warm underneath Lorena. So the possibility exists that Lorena may rapidly intensify in the short term, given its structure and favorable environment. So it has outflow to the north, to the west. It really looks circular. We're starting to see the convection develop, these white clouds. These are thunderstorms developing around the center of the storm. So the Hurricane Center is leaving the door open as Lorena gets over and stays over this warm water. But over the next 2 to 3 days, I'd say, Lorena is forecast to cross what forecasters say the 26-degree sea line. That's the 26 degrees Celsius. That's about 78.8 degrees Fahrenheit, but 79-degree Fahrenheit isotherm in 2 to 3 days. That means when it crosses from the warmer waters into the cooler waters that are very questionable for sustaining a hurricane. And then when it does that in 2 to 3 days, vertical wind shear, the winds aloft are forecast to be a little bit stronger and not be very conducive to supporting a tropical storm or hurricane. So that vertical wind shear will also increase, and the overall intensity should start to weaken by late in the week. We're talking Thursday into Friday. We should see a weakening Hurricane Lorena. It right now is forecast to be a minimal hurricane, maybe 80-mile-per-hour winds. Now, that doesn't matter. It's still going to kick off lots of waves, and it's going to be very impactful at the beaches, particularly places like Cabo. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little closer look in here on GeoCollaborate. Let's go over to the full screen on GeoCollaborate, and I'll back out just a little bit here so I can show you where the storm is forecast to turn. It's forecast to move to the northwest, and you can see this updating in real time from the Hurricane Center. And here we go, 85-mile-per-hour winds in the 36-hour forecast. So this is by Thursday morning. And then it's going to start to weaken. This is 80-mile-per-hour winds 48 hours from now. So this is by Thursday late afternoon. And then it starts to diminish in its intensity, but look at this curve that's expected. So I have some key points for you for Lorena, and this is very, very important. So there will be heavy rainfall associated with Lorena, and it will begin to affect Baja California Sur on Wednesday, so that's tomorrow, and southwestern Sonora by Thursday. Where's Sonora? Sonora is right up here. This is the state in Mexico. It borders places like Arizona, and that is where we might see some flash floods and flooding rains. It's pretty mountainous here. So we might see this rainfall intensity increase in southwestern Sonora by Thursday. This will increase the risk of life-threatening flash floods and mudslides, especially in the areas of higher terrain that I just mentioned. Now, Lorena is forecast to become and approach a hurricane and approach the Baja California coastline here later this week. Now, it's a little bit uncertain. That's why you see the cone here. You see this turn, exactly where that's going to happen. But tropical storm force winds may affect the areas along the southwestern coast of Baja California Sur. That is why the government of Mexico has issued a tropical storm watch from Cabo San Lucas, which is right down here at the tip, Cabo San Lucas, up to Cabo San Lazaro. So if you live in between that area, be on the lookout for not only battering waves that will increase, but also flash flooding and wind gusts to tropical storm force, which is 39 to 74, 73 miles per hour. So please monitor closely the latest forecast updates and ensure that you have a preparedness plan in place. Now let's widen out here and talk about another hurricane that has been intensifying during the day today. And this hurricane is looking pretty impressive on satellite. This is Hurricane Kiko. Here's Hurricane Kiko. Looks kind of small, right? I mean, look at it compared to Lorena. Lorena looks like a much broader circulation, but it does have a tight inner core as well. So we have two tropical systems. Look at this. In the warm waters of the Pacific, and these warm waters are helping to fuel the development of these storms. Kiko is expected to reach Category 3 as it treks towards Hawaii. Look at this. Follow my cursor over here. Here is Hawaii and the Hawaiian Islands. It's far away right now, but the forecast is for it to take a path closer to Hawaii than any other storm so far this season. And so we're going to monitor Hurricane Kiko very closely. Okay, the main steering for Kiko continues to be this strong high pressure ridge. There's a high pressure system up here, and that high pressure is driving the storm to the west. And I'll just do a quick little drawing here. This is the high pressure ridge that is driving Kiko to the west, and that's to the north. The high pressure system here, and that is something that is a significant factor in making sure that Kiko continues to move not only to the west, but over these warm sea surface temperatures. So for Kiko, through the next 48 hours, it should remain over sea surface temperatures of 27 to 28 degrees Celsius, which is 80 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit. This is very warm water, very conducive to helping a hurricane strengthen if it needs to. You can see sometimes pockets of cooler air or cooler water that are getting mixed in down here. But Kiko is going to remain here to the south and move in this direction. That's why we're going to monitor this very closely, because of its potential threat to the Hawaiian Islands. Okay, so there's light to moderate easterly wind shear. There's a relatively dry and stable environment that's making the intensity forecast a little bit tricky for the National Hurricane Center. So we may see over the next couple of days, we may see Kiko intensify in bursts and then weaken and go through some pulsations as it's moving across the Pacific Ocean here. Now, there's a larger than normal spread among the various intensity models, and the Hurricane Center pointed this out as well. So between days 3 and 4, okay, so we're Tuesday, so between Friday and Saturday, water temperatures along Kiko's path will begin to decrease. So you can see that as the path comes up here. Look at this area, this pocket of cooler sea surface temperatures. That may have an impact on Kiko's strength, but we're going to watch that. Those are going to begin to decrease while it also moves into progressively drier air mass. And so that is really something that could impact Kiko's strength. And I want to zoom in on Kiko because it's having some pretty impressive strengthening going on. And the Goes West satellite is focused right on Kiko because of the future threat it poses to Hawaii. So let's go in here. Look at that. This is the 1-minute satellite imagery, and look at these thunderstorms. These are very strong thunderstorms developing along the eastern side of Kiko. We do have decent thunderstorms all around the storm, but look at this. This is really blowing up here, and this may lead to Kiko going through a little period of rapid intensification in the Pacific Ocean here. Look how compact the clouds are. It's very pronounced in its outflow. Look at the cirrus clouds out here. I can back out just a little bit. This is the 1-minute imagery, so we only get a little bit of a little sector. But I just wanted to show, look, it's very good outflow in all quadrants of this storm. But then as we zoom in, we can really see these thunderstorms growing very rapidly. Hurricane Kiko here as of 11 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So that is 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, so not too long ago. Hurricane Kiko continues to strengthen, and it's located 13.9 north, 128.9 west, and that is about 1,775 miles east of Hilo, Hawaii. That is the reference point because that's the next landmass that Kiko may impact in one way or another, getting close to the island or impacting the islands. It's just too far ahead right now to tell. Look at the winds, 100 miles per hour. That makes it a Category 2 hurricane. Minimum central pressure, 980 millibars. And the movement west at 6 miles per hour. So it's not moving fast, but it certainly is looking very impressive on the satellite imagery here. So by the next advisory, it looks like 5 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. So that's 11 o'clock p.m. tonight. We may have a stronger hurricane on our hands, and Kiko, based on GeoCollaborate here, is forecast to become a major hurricane here in not too far future here. So in the 24-hour forecast for Kiko is for it to become a major hurricane. Right now it's a Category 2, expected to become a Category 3 hurricane by this time tomorrow, and then continue that Category 3 status at 115 miles per hour over the next couple of days. And that's something that we'll be watching very closely. The winds that I'm clicking on here, this is a very high probability in this area that tropical storm force winds will be felt. And those tropical storm force probabilities go out a little bit. And you can see Hawaii out here. So this time period, well out here in the future, is 120 hours into the future. Okay, so we're far, far away from Hawaii. A lot of changes could happen. So this is the forecast for September 7th. So 5 days from now at 8 o'clock in the morning, expected to be an 85 mile per hour hurricane, which will be kicking up a lot of waves, that's for sure. But the uncertainty here is whether Kiko will turn well to the east of Hawaii, or it will continue to the west and turn closer to the Hawaiian Islands. That's what we're very concerned about, and that's why we're watching Kiko very closely, and that's why the National Hurricane Center has requested this particular satellite loop, which is the 1-minute satellite imagery of Kiko, probably throughout its life cycle until it gets past the Hawaiian Islands. And that's the benefits of having a Western satellite like Goes West. We can focus on hurricanes impacting or threatening Hawaii. We can focus on storms in the Midwest, tropical waves forming in the Atlantic, all because we have these two satellites up there, which are critical. Regarding the Atlantic basin and this potential tropical system that we're watching coming off the coast of Africa. Now it's over the ocean, showing some promise, showing some possible low level circulation at some point, but it's not really closed. So the National Hurricane Center is watching this area in the Atlantic. And this is what the GFS model does with that particular area. You can see this right down here. It does develop this into a tropical system. The GFS model does. And as we continue this forward, I'm not going to take it incredibly far. I'll take it out to about 120 hours here. There we are. So this is by Sunday morning, almost about 5 days away. You can see this is a hurricane that the models have developed, the GFS model. And here are the Lesser Antilles right here. So it is likely from this model that this particular storm will miss the islands and curve or recurve somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean. So that's it for this briefing. We have a lot in the tropics that we're monitoring, and we're certainly watching Hurricane Kiko as the intensity really is pretty impressive right now, 100-mile-per-hour winds. But those thunderstorms blowing up like that could make this a Category 3 storm as forecast by the National Hurricane Center in about 24 hours. Thanks so much for watching this update. We'll keep you posted with another update during the day tomorrow, late afternoon tomorrow most likely. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. Please watch out for yourself and watch out for your neighbors. Make sure they have a hurricane plan if you're anywhere near the coast, and make sure you have a flood plan if you live inland, because we know how fast flash floods can form. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow.